Have you ever wondered what lies behind a star's radiant smile? It's easy to think that icons like Julie Andrews, our beloved Mary Poppins, and Maria von Trapp lead charmed lives free of struggles. But the truth is, behind every starry-eyed performance lies a story of triumphs, heartbreaks, and sacrifices. From her earliest days in war-torn England to her rise on Broadway and then Hollywood, Julie Andrews carried a secret that, for decades, remained hidden behind that perfect, clear soprano voice. Today, at 89, she finally confirms what so many of us suspected but never truly understood: the astonishing story of how she lost her world-famous singing voice, the emotional toll it took on her, and the new beginnings she carved out of heartbreak. Join me as we journey through the highs, lows, and unimaginable twists of a performer who redefined stage and screen, yet still struggled with truths hidden from the public for years. Let's dive in. Julie Andrews was born on October 1st, 1935, in Walton-on-Thames, England, under the name Julia Elizabeth Wells. Her childhood coincided with the upheaval of World War II, a time of separations and sudden shifts in family life. Her mother, Barbara Ward Morris, was a talented pianist who later married Canadian-born vaudeville performer Ted Andrews. This union exposed Julie to musical tours across England, where Ted quickly recognized her extraordinary talent. Even before her teens, Julie displayed a remarkable ear, perfect pitch, and a vocal range uncommon for someone so young. Determined to nurture her gift, Ted steered her toward formal lessons. She soon studied with Madame Lillian Stiles Allen, a respected concert soprano who believed Julie possessed a once-in-a-lifetime voice. Lessons were demanding, involving long journeys and frigid practice rooms, but she thrived on the discipline. In her early teens, a private family secret emerged. Edward Charles Wells, the man Julie had always called father, was not her biological parent. Rather than fracturing her world, this revelation strengthened her resolve to cherish the man who raised her. Though shocking, it remained a personal matter that she guarded as her ambitions soared. By age 12, Julie received her first big professional break, performing at the London Hippodrome in a revue called Starlight Roof. Most children that age were just discovering popular songs, but Julie's stunning soprano drew standing ovations. Her reputation grew as Britain's youngest prima donna. Within a year, she performed for King George VI and Queen Elizabeth at the Royal Command Variety Performance, the youngest solo performer ever to appear there. During her run in Starlight Roof, she met American comedian Wally Boag, known for bringing children on stage to liven up his act. When Julie sang impromptu for the crowd one night, the spontaneous charm she displayed solidified her identity as a natural performer. Soon, she landed roles in West End pantomimes like Aladdin and Humpty Dumpty, mixing humor with her exquisite vocal skill. Meanwhile, radio appearances on the BBC, such as Up the Pole and Educating Archie, introduced her to comedic timing, giving her invaluable on-the-job training alongside seasoned pros. At 19, Julie crossed the Atlantic to make her Broadway debut in The Boyfriend, 1954. Though the show was already a hit in London, her performance injected fresh energy into the New York production. Critics praised her radiant voice and endearing stage presence, awarding her a Theatre World Award. 2 years later, she stepped into what would become one of the most iconic roles in musical theater history, Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, 1956. Initially, Mary Martin was offered the role, but declined. Julie, with her deft ability to morph from rough Cockney flower girl to refined lady, proved the perfect choice. Songs like I Could Have Danced All Night made Eliza a Broadway legend, and the show broke records with its run of 2,717 performances. Though Julie received a Tony nomination, she did not win, yet her star power was indisputable. When My Fair Lady was adapted to film, many expected her to reprise Eliza. Instead, producers famously cast Audrey Hepburn, whose singing voice was dubbed. Despite the disappointment, Julie found another door opening that would change her life forever. Walt Disney had been seeking the perfect actress to play Mary Poppins. He wanted someone who could embody both a gentle presence and a mischievous glint in her eye. Julie was an obvious choice. Mary Poppins, 1964, became an instant Disney classic, showcasing her clear soprano on tunes like A Spoonful of Sugar and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress, an ironic triumph given that Audrey Hepburn had taken her My Fair Lady role for the screen. The following year, Julie starred in The Sound of Music, 1965. As Maria von Trapp, she opened the film spinning joyously on a hilltop while belting the title song. The production went on to earn 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and solidified Julie as a global star. However, with 2 beloved nanny governess roles in quick succession, she risked being confined to similar characters. Determined to avoid typecasting, she embraced more challenging roles that departed from the sing-along formula. In 1964, she co-starred with James Garner in The Americanization of Emily, a satirical World War II romance that showcased her dramatic chops. She then took on Alfred Hitchcock's Torn Curtain, 1966, alongside Paul Newman, though critics noted the star's refined demeanors contrasted with the film's grittier spy thriller tone. Despite mixed reviews, it performed decently at the box office. Not all her film choices succeeded. 2 lavish productions, Star, 1968, a biopic of stage actress Gertrude Lawrence directed by The Sound of Music's Robert Wise, and Darling Lily, 1970, directed by Blake Edwards, became notorious flops. Even with grand budgets, audiences failed to connect with either film. Critics felt her performances were too mannered, and the studio losses were enormous. Nonetheless, Julie garnered Golden Globe nominations for both, proving critics still respected her talent, though Hollywood was shifting away from big musicals. Hoping to expand her appeal, Julie ventured into television with The Julie Andrews Hour, 1972. The variety show allowed her to sing, dance, and perform comedic sketches, but despite positive critical reception, ratings lagged, and ABC canceled it after 1 season. Ironically, it won 7 Emmy Awards after its demise. Refusing to be pigeonholed, she tried her hand at nightclub performances. This intimate, jazzier venue let her break from the wholesome image developed through family-oriented musicals. Critics were intrigued by her willingness to adapt. Then, in 1979, came a cinematic comeback. Blake Edwards' comedy 10, co-starring Dudley Moore and Bo Derek, was a box office smash. Buoyed by this success, she took more daring roles, including S.O.B., 1981, in which she surprised audiences by baring her chest on film. The following year, she starred in Victor/Victoria, 1982, playing a singer who impersonates a male performer, an unusual premise in mainstream cinema. The film earned critical and commercial praise, along with an Academy Award nomination and a Golden Globe win for Julie. Away from the limelight, Julie's personal life included a marriage to set and costume designer Tony Walton in 1959. They had a daughter, Emma, but the demands of her career eventually contributed to their divorce in 1967. Feeling emotionally drained, Julie sought therapy, encouraged by director Mike Nichols. It proved a turning point, helping her manage what she described as emotional clutter. She soon found unexpected love with Blake Edwards after a chance meeting outside a therapist's office. Though there was a 13-year age gap, they discovered profound common ground. Julie became stepmother to Edwards' children, and they later adopted 2 daughters from Vietnam. Their professional collaborations, such as Darling Lily, S.O.B., and Victor/Victoria, varied in financial success, but their personal bond endured for 41 years until Edwards' death in 2010. She often described it as a genuine, true love story. As the 1980s progressed, Julie continued exploring roles that moved beyond the ingenue or nanny archetypes. In films like That's Life, 1986, she confronted aging and family tensions head-on. Around that time, doctors found a throat lesion, a discovery that foreshadowed her later vocal troubles. She tested her dramatic abilities once more in Duet for One, 1986, playing a violinist diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Both roles led to Golden Globe nominations, underscoring the breadth of her talents. Television beckoned again in 1992 with the sitcom Julie, but it was canceled after only 7 episodes. Still, she thrived in stage reviews and concert specials. In 1993, she returned to Broadway in Stephen Sondheim's Putting It Together, proving she could still captivate theatergoers decades into her career. In 1995, she revisited Victor of Victoria, this time as a Broadway production. Fans relished seeing her back on stage in a role that combined sophisticated comedy with vocal flair. When she was the only cast or crew member nominated for a Tony Award, she famously declined the nomination, stating her colleagues also deserved recognition. This gesture highlighted her loyalty and sense of fairness toward her entire theatrical team. Tragically, during the Victor of Victoria run, Julie began experiencing noticeable hoarseness. At first, people assumed she just needed rest, but doctors found what they called benign nodules or a lesion on her vocal cords. Desperate for relief, she underwent surgery in June 1997 at Mount Sinai Hospital. The operation was intended to be routine, promising to restore her famous soprano. Instead, it left her with scarred vocal cords that could no longer produce the clear, soaring notes for which she was renowned. Family members, including Blake Edwards, spoke of her devastation. Gone was the effortless clarity that had endeared her to millions. A malpractice lawsuit followed, settled out of court in 2000. Though the terms were undisclosed, no legal resolution could mend her heartbreak. Multiple follow-up treatments at Massachusetts General Hospital helped her speaking voice, but her singing voice, as she had known it, never returned. According to Julie, the surgeons had not fully explained the likelihood of permanent damage. The loss felt akin to losing a defining part of herself. Nevertheless, she refused to disappear into sorrow. Instead, she searched for other creative outlets that wouldn't depend on hitting high Cs. Despite being robbed of her signature instrument, Julie found fresh ways to enchant audiences. She provided the voice of Queen Lillian in the Shrek films, beginning with Shrek 2, 2004. Her wry, regal delivery brought maternal warmth and humor to the franchise. She also returned to Disney for The Princess Diaries, 2001, and its 2004 sequel, playing Queen Clarice Rinaldi opposite a young Anne Hathaway. This role reintroduced her to a new generation who hadn't seen Mary Poppins or The Sound of Music in theaters. Touchingly, in The Princess Diaries 2, she performed a brief duet, albeit with a far more limited range than in her glory days. Still, it was enough to spark nostalgia and show glimpses of her old vocal sparkle. She also took on narration duties. In 2007, she narrated Disney's Enchanted, seamlessly connecting the brand's classic fairy tale style to a contemporary twist. In 2010, she played a whimsical figure in Tooth Fairy, head of a magical realm that put Dwayne Johnson through comedic paces. Each project reminded the public that Julie Andrews could still captivate, even if she couldn't sing as she once did. In 2016, she directed a commemorative production of My Fair Lady at the Sydney Opera House for its 60th anniversary, referencing archival designs to celebrate the show's heritage. The production scored box office success and rave reviews, as though she'd come full circle, Eliza Doolittle's legacy guiding her from star performer to visionary director. Then, in 2017, she co-created and hosted Julie's Green Room on Netflix, an educational show introducing children to performing arts. Joined by celebrity guests like Alec Baldwin and Idina Menzel, she demonstrated her commitment to nurturing the next generation of talent. It earned 2 Daytime Emmy nominations, proving that even without her signature soprano, Julie's presence could still command attention and respect. As time passed, Julie began speaking openly about the ordeal that had taken her voice away. She confirmed that the surgery's risks were never fully conveyed to her and that the heartbreak of losing her ability to sing was profound. Yet she chose not to become bitter or reclusive. She ventured further into writing, collaborating with her daughter, Emma Walton Hamilton, to produce children's books. She also championed research into advanced vocal restoration, working with experts at MIT and Harvard Medical School to explore new technologies for healing damaged vocal cords. Though a miraculous return to her former range never materialized, Julie found countless other ways to share her creativity. She continued to appear in films, host television specials, and lend her voice to documentaries and animated features. Fans admired her resilience. Rather than dwelling on what she could no longer do, she embraced the roles and opportunities that showcased her comedic timing, warmth, and enduring grace. She had once conquered Broadway, dazzled Hollywood, then navigated major stumbles, and now, even without the incomparable soprano that made her famous, she remained a force in entertainment. At 89, she finally lifted the veil on that pivotal surgery, confirming what many had suspected for years. A routine procedure meant to preserve her instrument instead took it away forever. Over time, conflicting rumors and whispers had circulated about nodules, polyps, misuse, or accidental damage. Julie's candid reflections clarified that she had unknowingly agreed to a risky operation, and the scarring was permanent. Decades later, she still feels the emotional weight of it. Her story, however, is not solely about loss. It's also about adaptation and the will to keep moving forward. While her public persona had been that of a practically perfect nanny, her real journey involved heartbreak, self-discovery, and bravery at every juncture. No longer able to depend on her glorious singing, she expanded her repertoire, directing plays, writing books, producing educational content, and taking cameo or voiceover roles that capitalized on her legendary status. Her heartbreak only underscored the depth of her dedication to bringing joy to others. So, what does Julie Andrews' story teach us? Perhaps it's that no matter how high we soar, life can still bring us to our knees. We can lose the very thing that defines us. And yet, we can also rise again, discovering new paths and sharing the gifts we do have left. Her journey is both heartbreaking and uplifting, a testament to how creativity and passion don't vanish with a single tragedy. They persist, shape-shifting into new ventures that can surprise even the star herself. Now, I want to hear from you. Which part of Julie Andrews' story resonates with you the most? Is it her unwavering determination after losing her voice, her willingness to break free from the stereotypes of her early career, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the life, secrets, and legacy of a Hollywood legend. If you've enjoyed this journey, give this video a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories. Until next time, keep following your passion, no matter the obstacles. And remember, sometimes the greatest performances arise not from perfection, but from our struggles to find a new voice when the old one is gone. Thanks for watching.